This channel is about the reviews that you request, and you ask us to review the all-new Lexus NX. Let's go! Well, the question, how good is this new generation now? Thomas here with Autogefühl. You can see big Lexus logo, this grille here, sporty styling, huge indeed, vertical style in this case then here, and the LED daytime running light really slim, and of course also full LED lamps today, a black styling. The length at 4.66 m or 183 inches, just slightly longer than the previous generation, and once again styling was striking in the front. Here very elegant in the side profile, dividing in light and shadow, and then here dissolving in this kind of triangle. It's a really interesting design and coupe-like shape here at the side. 20-inch wheels are today's choice, and the F-Sport version would be standard with 20-inch wheels. Also in the F-Sport you get an adaptive suspension. That might be a reason to go for the F-Sport indeed. But what do you think about the design here so far? Tell me in the comments. Very interesting rear styling here. Most of the manufacturers go now with one light strip going all the way across. Here it's also going way wide, but here you have this split between the element here and then the middle one. I think it looks really beautiful. So overall also a very clean design here. No fake exhaust. Is this a fake exhaust graphic? Maybe it was derived from that original, but I think that's fine. So no job for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police for today. But overall I think the styling really great actually.
This is the car key, slim and light actually, nothing special but nothing bad. Here these door handles, they are new and they do not move at all. There's like an area behind it which you can touch and then they open, but you see here they don't come towards you or something, and this is somewhat lacking haptical feedback, I think. So, and then door closing sound, it's really solid, and you can also see here the build quality, how everything is aligned very well. Inside of the doors is just slightly soft. My favorite element for today is here this matte open cell wood. Just listen to this. That's beautiful. And then here the all new interior. Let's begin with the steering wheel. Here you can see you do have real buttons on the steering wheel, for example for volume. And then you also have these that can be pressed, but they are touch at the same time. So you can press them, but you can also touch them. And you will soon see that this can be irritating at times. As for the seats, there are two different forms, either this one or the F-Sport seat, which would have more support here in this shoulder area. And I think I do recommend the F-Sport seats from my experience with Lexus so far, but they're both very good as for the ergonomics.
And this seat here is available in animal skin leather or in NuLuxe or Tahara leatherette, animal friendly and also more sustainable. But how to differentiate? Well, here with the pattern. This pattern indicates it's animal skin, and the pattern that would go like in more vertical would be the animal free one. But indeed it took me a while to figure that one actually out. Here the NX, although we don't have it at this very vehicle, offers a vast amount of great Tahara or NuLuxe materials in black, white black combination, red, brown, bright, so all colors you can imagine. You just have to see like which combination and in which market what is being offered. It's really complex, you know, like things like, hey, when you pick the plug-in hybrid, then in the US you can do this, in the UK this, and in Germany this. It's really confusing. I wonder why they don't make it like, you know, more uniform. Would be easier for me and also for you. So just check the configurator in detail. Seating position, ergonomics is really good. Steering wheel, up and down, in and out. And you also have this effect that when you here turn off the vehicle, then seat goes backwards, steering wheel goes in. Yeah, turn the lights off. Okay, no problem. Sorry about that. And here when you activate it again, then steering wheel comes towards you, seat goes forward. And yes, always these beeping sounds, really annoying. But one thing is here, I'm not sure if you can already see it. This is the steering wheel all the way out, the whole column. And I wonder about that. Usually I would have the steering wheel like here, and maybe it go a little bit further back with the seat to have a very comfortable position as 1.86 m or 6'1" guy. And I also have enough headroom here left. But that steering wheel is just so close to the dashboard, even in the widest position. And here, just look at that. When I put it all the way in here now, this is like I'm almost steering at the instruments. So I really wonder why they have just didn't make the steering column a little bit further, you know, just a little bit longer.
And this is also really interesting, how to open the door from the inside. Just press it like this, you know, and then it goes open. And the manual release would be then the classic way, you know. This is like the manual release for emergency situations when the car doesn't have power or something, you're maybe trapped inside or so. So that goes against intuition a little bit, but after a while you get used to it a little bit, and then just pressing it is also not too bad.
Cockpit overview, really interesting. It stands out, this, you know, kind of like this attachment here, either 10-inch screen or optional or in higher trims than the 14-inch screens, really like in-your-face screens, but there are also interesting elements that have been more or less kept. For example, you still have a AC dial here, this, you know, round dial. Have then the temperature in the middle. Reminds us a little bit of what Range Rover has been doing, but this is actually good then to be able to control that while driving in a quite easy way. When strength, however, then here in the infotainment system, this is here then the map, and you see it's actually quite responsive, so that's cool. So as for the infotainment software, also a big step forward here for Lexus. Look also here at the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto integration, wireless, by the way. This is once again, you know, really large indeed. And then you can also, you know, access some more climate functions here. Here, for example, the heated steering wheel. You can also set it to auto. To me, a little bit more complicated, definitely, than if you would just have like separate switches here. At least it's kind of big enough. And the sound system, you can also have here this, you know, manual volume control. This is not the Mark & Levinson sound system here, but already this one we have in here is actually quite decent. So yeah, really like the sound. So they have really good sound systems there, definitely. So here, one more look. Here, this is then while driving, for example. I will activate it while driving, where you can see the energy flow here of the plug-in hybrid drive system. And you would also have a web browser here when you have a Wi-Fi connection, for example. Here, you know, when you have normal Bluetooth connection, that would also be possible. And you can also have more car view, like you know, like a charging schedule you can put in something. So again, big step forward infotainment system wise, but I do miss some of the classic Lexus features that we have more, you know, classic knobs and so on.
Rear view camera has, yeah, an okay resolution, but the display is also very big, you have to say. And what else? Here it's not a live view, but then like kind of like from past image, it builds up a transparent car drone view, so to speak. But you've seen that it kind of builds up. It's not then like what you see in the middle. It's not live, but from the like from the past actions, so to speak.
Head-up display is always helpful, so a nice option. But the strange thing is here, you have so many controls, and I'm doing that from the steering wheel. And the strange thing that the control on the steering wheel is controlling stuff in the head-up display somewhat. It also switches, then I can also adjust the height here. But then again here, when I'm doing like this right and left, at this moment, contents in the instruments change and not in the head-up display for real. And this is so confusing. So here now, when I press right and left, then I change the contents here. When I press up and down, I don't change contents in the instruments, but adjust the height of the head-up display. So yeah, I really don't get it. But instruments are also clear to read. Here the speed is what you need. Left side would be then for the electric, for what's battery left, and right side then where I still have that fuel. Here, by the way, eco mode, normal mode, sport mode. The sport mode has then this red appearance. And here once again I can press. That's actually okay. But then also when I just do like this. This also changes things, so you can accidentally activate something by just, holding your finger here. And yeah, ooh, lovely. Not only this lens flare, but I mean here, this cubby hole here, slides down so smooth. I love these details. Here the back mirror has this special effect that when you turn like this, then it becomes a camera image. That can be quite good when you, for example, load all the trunk like to the very top, and you can't see anything anymore. No, I'm not saying you can't see. And then you can activate the camera image and can still see. And here in the lower area you do have a drive mode controller for sport or eco driving.
normal press it, it adjusts a little bit, you know, the power input from the throttle. However, most of the time you're already busy with these different hybrid driving modes, so I would just leave it in normal and that's it. USB-C and USB-A chargers, and then there's here an inductive charging pad for your phone. The Apple CarPlay Android Auto connection works wirelessly. Shifting lever is still somewhat complicated because here for reverse you still have this kind of step effect, and here also for the drive mode. Why did they do it that way? And here you go actually through like 1 or 2 modes, 1, 2, 3 modes on this button, how they work and how they differ, explaining you while driving. Cup holders are adaptive right here, and yeah, this is the Lexus Hygiene car hand gel supplier they always put in with the test vehicles now. Yeah, I hope this time soon passes. Here, this armrest goes either here or here, so in both ways, and then more space underneath. We have a beautiful brown ceiling here today, by the way. The material at the inside of the doors is not super plush, but at least they use the same one in the rear and in the front, so it's also somewhat soft touch, and also the nice matte wood here at the inside of the doors. Seating position in the rear, when tall drivers are here, you can see you fit in with at least 4 tall adults, and headroom wise also no problem for me. It's also fairly comfortable once again here. And Isofix at the outside part. Let's see, here we have cup holders, and they are also adaptive. And then in the middle part, can we sit here? Yeah, it's actually also fairly comfortable and soft. And in this middle part here, it's not too high, and you have 2 USB-C chargers and also seat heating if you pick that option. Trunk area around 550 liters. Here the width is 1 meter or 40 inches. Here going further in, here at the very beginning it's a little bit wider, and the standard length normal truck is about 95 centimeters or 37 inches. Here in the front you do have space for the charging cable here in that plug-in hybrid version, so that's coming quite handy. You can see here luggage fits in easily. Also then here the cabin trolley in a vertical way. Let's put that out actually, and then we can see I already folded one of the half. This is like this wobbly cover. You can of course remove that. You can also reach over that slightly like this, and then can fold the seats from here, but yeah, probably easier to do it than from the rear area. And here the total length to the seat as I would be driving is about 1 meter 80 or 70 inches. NX 450 H Plus. Well, we know H is for the hybrids, but H Plus? What about that? Engines, it's all about the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated, no turbos, and then either as a pure combustion engine, as an inbuilt hybrid, or today here as the plug-in hybrid version. The hybrids get the H after the name. This one here, the H Plus, signalizing this as the PHEV drivetrain with an 18 kWh battery. Oh, and have you seen? It's being held up by gas struts. Nice. And if you have all-wheel drive model, like also here the plug-in hybrid, there's an additional electric motor at the rear. So in this case then, combustion engine front, plus an electric motor in the front, plus another electric motor in the rear. This is Thomas's driving lounge here with the Lexus NX, all new generation plug-in hybrid drivetrain, so the most powerful one. Will it also face the German Autobahn test? Yes, of course. From 45 kilometers an hour, let's go. $100. 150. Now wind noise is picking up. 170. 180. Should actually go 200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles per hour max, but you see here we take some time to reach that. Now the wind noise is actually quite loud. Of course also that sound from the engine doesn't sound too good. That's really aspirated engine, and then also this eCVT they're using. 195 we are reaching max. Suspension shakes up notably, not feeling too safe. So in the F-Sport version where you have the adaptive suspension, that would be better actually, so I can recommend that if you're rather a fast driver. Here, I mean, it still feels okay, you know, but let's say it doesn't feel best in really fast driving. 120 kilometers an hour, 70 miles an hour is a very good motorway speed, then also the noise insulation is fine actually.
But if you compare to the previous generation, optimization from the chassis, so already the base versions feels a little bit sportier. Steering feeling here is very light actually, but not too indirect, so overall likable. But then again, well, I said in the interior part, I really would like a seating position here together with that steering wheel where it just comes more outward. I always feel like, you know, it's just too close to the dashboard here. That's a very strange feeling indeed. I also put you in here this special gauge where you can follow what's being done here at the moment here. Combustion engine is powering the front wheels and the front electric motor. And then there's also here either energy from the battery or it goes to the battery depending on how I have the throttle. If I leave the throttle, power goes back to the energy. Power goes back to the battery. Energy goes back to the battery. So it's always like back and forth, and when I re-hit throttle, then we also get power from that rear electric motor, which is additional when you have an all-wheel drive version. It's pretty distracting to look at it while driving. You can maybe do that if you see it here, like, you know, at the right side. But for me, it's really distracting. But it's interesting to see what the system is doing. And there are also so many driving modes. It gets a little bit complicated, I have to say. So either, and probably you will leave that all the time in, just the auto mode, and then the car decides on its own when to use the electric mode, when not to. You can then hit the button and go to the EV only mode when the battery is full enough actually. Then the button above that is actually, you can go into the HV mode. That then kinda enables a similar hybrid driving feeling, you know, from the inbuilt hybrid system at Toyota and Lexus. Then with this button you can also switch to the usual EV mode, the EV only mode, and when you hold it, this button, then you can go to the charging mode. Then the combustion engine is charging the battery actually. That is, here you hit, now it gets activated and it's charging the battery. This is not efficient at all, but it might be needed for situations where you have like a city with an emission zone. You're only allowed to drive there all electric. Then you charge, you know, on the countryside road or something, and then you're able to. So they always implement the system that you can theoretically do that, but it's not really efficient. That's the thing. And you know, like an average fuel consumption for a plug-in hybrid is always a very tricky thing to do. There is no reliable, you know, amount for that actually. So because it always depends on how much do you charge, you know. So it can be everything from 0 liters to 9 liters per 100 kilometers, anything basically, you know. That's a tricky thing also then for me as a reviewer when driving plug-in hybrid vehicles. Definitely it's easier when you have the inbuilt hybrids and you can say, oh, there's, you know, good fuel economy here and there. Of course here, when you do not charge this car externally, then you also can more or less drive like with the normal hybrid system, also here in this special driving mode, because you still have some recuperation moments and you can use this buffer then when starting up. Of course, this is more meant to be that you charge it from the outside and then have all electric driving to somewhat 50 kilometers, 30 miles, pure electric driving. And then when it's empty, then you go for a combustion engine, or when you go on a longer trip. Here, when you have this charging mode activated, you also hear that the engine is definitely louder overall. So not really a thing that is to be recommended, so to speak. So let's deactivate it. There we go. And here in the EV mode, that sounds way better, right? So when I'm just rolling here, pure EV mode, really nice and silent. But always when you hit the throttle completely, then the combustion engine also is being activated. Or you can just put it into the auto mode and the car then once again decides for itself. As for cruise control and assistance systems, here let's put the adaptive cruise control to on, and then we can increase or decrease the speed right here. And now also the active lane keeping assist is activated. Let's check it out. Check it out, y'all. So in here, slight bend so far. Look at the steering wheel also. I'm not steering it at the moment, but very smooth how this bend is being kept, so there's no like a hectic reaction from the steering wheel or something. It's actually quite decent.
Well, gladly we're alone in this Autobahn tunnel here at the moment. But if there would be someone coming from behind, there's also a blind spot monitor, by the way, which is a very helpful feature, definitely. Clear view to the digital instruments, definitely, and yeah, that huge screen, you can also see it here in the tunnel. Once again, we can go a little bit fast, accelerate here, see here the pin down, and then the engine is getting activated. And yeah, let's keep it here now at 150. Noise insulation here is still quite decent. So we've heard louder ones, we've heard more silent ones, definitely. Oh, and here is still, when I'm not in the cruise control mode, but just on the throttle myself, the active lane keeping assist stays activated. That's interesting. So that's not always the case. The question is if that's a good thing or not. But you can also deactivate it here with a button on the steering wheel if you rather want to steer than yourself. So that's good that we can deactivate it right here. And I already gave you a glimpse of information of that in the interior part. How to control the digital instruments and the head-up display, to me, that's really a nightmare. So especially that these fields are kind of like touch sensitive. At the same time, you can press them and it's mixing it completely. And when you do like just this, I've done it like 3 different things now, just by touching it here. And I'm not even sure what I did. And I've 10 years experience of a car reviewer and have reviewed like 2,000 vehicles or something at this point. And now imagine like a customer who has maybe driven like one single car for 15 years and then gets into this vehicle and is like, whoa, can you just drive, please? And that's more and more a huge problem with a lot of new vehicles we have. I'm not sure where this is going to. So I really appreciate when manufacturers keep it simple as well. New technologies, yes, especially for safety and what else? For driving, fun and whatever is great. We'll appreciate new technologies. We all love new technologies, but they're also there to make life easier, safer and better and not more complicated. That's my point, So I'm not the super old school guy. Well, sometimes, in some cases, yes, but I'm not old school for being old school. Old school in a way of, hey, it's cool that I can still turn a climate knob here because then I can adjust the temperature just, in a more easy way. But here, for example, like the classic thing is I can activate the cruise control here, but at the same time, the same button here, at some point, here when I press this button, and now the same button here puts the head-up display up and down, but right and left control something in the instruments. And you think like, how is my brain supposed to cope with that? I mean, even if I'm saying that, I still don't really understand what it's doing. So this is really a missed chance. I really love the recent Lexus vehicles we had, like the RX and the LS. No, we didn't have the LS yet, the RX and the ES. And they are so easy to control because you have like this separate button for the heated steering wheel and so on. Here, I mean, it is more or less easily accessible, but still I have to put it here, the touchscreen for heated seat and also the heated steering wheel. Yeah, but especially like these features we were loving about the Lexus vehicles, and they were actually, I hit the brakes here now, won't cross the light on red. So we love these features about the Lexus vehicles, and they kind of set themselves apart, especially now like to new Mercedes vehicles and so on. Now they're gone here in the NX. So, and I still haven't figured a way out to reset the fuel economy, like to do that, like the reset average. And I've been searching for like an hour now or something. So yeah, this really speaks against the user interface of this vehicle, although it looks really fancy. And it drives quite well actually. Turning indicator, sound we have heard better actually. Here now, interesting. Let's put it into the, so it's always the thing, like which mode is available depending on how low or full the battery is. But let's see, when I accelerate now here, traffic light soon jumps to green, and accelerate here in the corner. electric, combustion engine, out of the corner, smooth with that steering wheel, but sound-wise, of course, you don't have the best feedback, so to speak. Yeah, but this is the thing also why the plug-in hybrids or the hybrids can save fuel, because like in this first 1 or 2 seconds, you get the electric boost first, and you know this first drive is something that also consumes a lot of fuel, for example, and that's the thing then why this can still be somewhat fuel saving overall, definitely. The driving comfort actually, the seat ergonomics, really good, we know that from Lexus. In the ES I found that the F-Sport seats are even better, so we do not have the F-Sport seats here. So maybe I would even try to go for an F-Sport version to have the sportier ergonomics, which not necessarily need to be less comfortable, but even more comfortable. And of course then pay attention that you can get the, either the Tahara or NuLuxe, depending on how it's named on your market. So the high-grade leatherette seats to be more animal friendly and more sustainable. This is then also, of course, more fitting to the vehicle, and that material, we've seen that also in the ES F-Sport, that material is just awesome, really, really awesome. So if you ask me, the previous NX, I mean here you get more fancy stuff, definitely. You have this, new touchscreen thing and have everything bigger, it looks more modern, noise insulation a little bit more improved. Chassis from a riding rigidity and so on. So here also that back mirror, that they can have the camera when like everything is packed fully in the trunk. Definitely the more modern impression. But we are seeing now the things that I especially can say about all new Mercedes vehicles, that the new generations are way harder to control than the previous versions. And then imagine like customers who are even, let's say less tech savvy.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you.
And I'm having trouble understanding you. Yeah. What activated the voice activation now? I'm not even sure. And I mean, I haven't staged that, You could say that, hey, Thomas, you staged that, right? But definitely, once again, we see what we see with the all-new Mercedes, just harder from the user interface, and sometimes you have these frustrating situations that you say like, I'm not sure what I've just done here. And it's so sad because this vehicle still delivers a great luxury experience, the high build quality, the great reliability that this Lexus is always standing for. We also have a great seating comfort. Suspension is also fine, even though we don't have the adaptive suspension here. It will be even better with the adaptive suspension, so that's also another reason to go for the F-Sport actually. So it's still a great mid-size luxury SUV, no doubt. But to me, really, this more complicated user interface is somehow interfering with the, just getting into the vehicle and enjoying it. You know that feeling? Some vehicles are just well built and everything is fine, and you get into the vehicle and you immediately understand how you can do this, 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 and this. And then you just start driving and just relax, enjoy the drive and don't care so much about what the car is doing and so on. But here there's always, when I do the next step, I always have to think about, wait a minute, how do I get there? Yeah, of course, these things will be better when this is your primary vehicle and you drive it for a longer period of time. It will get easier, but it doesn't make it good, The car is well designed also from the user interface when you can get in the car and immediately understand everything. Yeah, that's the thing. Here, by the way, hybrid or plug-in hybrid drivetrain, this is where the advantages, of course, once again begin when I'm driving downhill for a longer period of time. All silence, combustion engine off, and I'm also gaining back the energy. This is, of course, where I can have more efficiency gains. And once again, such a relieving feeling here, driving all silent. And I mean, I wonder, we have the UX, which is all electric. Shouldn't they have launched the all-new NX pure electric as well? Maybe even at first hand? That would have been something, right?
yeah. So what do you think? Still, you know, good driving experience here. You do not get the sportiest ride from that. This will also once again be better in the F-Sport with the adaptive suspension. Still very well built, and the reliability is the thing that still speaks for it. So overall, very interesting driving experience. Yeah, but once again, the user interface here, not too happy with that overall. By the way, you can adjust here the gears, so to speak. This will basically boost the RPM. So when you want to have like an either spontaneous acceleration, or if you're driving downhill for such a long time that you maybe even need engine brakes, so to speak. But here with the plug-in hybrid, of course, this is not the biggest effect, because when you have this PHEV drivetrain here, you can gain back so much energy when you're driving downhill, and also for a longer period of time. In this case, you would not need this feature actually. Well, have you seen our Audi Q5 plug-in hybrid version? This one is the video here, tune in there. Or, of course, one of the big competitors here is the BMW X3, recently facelifted.